The line between good and evil in television and movies has gotten blurred over the years, and no one is more evident of that than Jadis from The Walking Dead. I've been watching TWD since the original show premiered in 2010 and have followed every spin-off, from the West Coast outbreak story on Fear the Walking Dead to the prequels, including the Rick and Mike-centric The Walking Dead, Ones Who Live. It was that show that finished Jadis' tragic story and showed she was more complex than many gave her credit for. What is important to understand about The Walking Dead is that everyone is doing what they are doing for their own justified reasons. The most despicable characters have room for redemption. Negan bashed in the beloved Glenn's skull with Lucille, and now he is a hero in his own spin-off series. Characters like Jadis, the Governor, Merle Dixon, the leaders of the Commonwealth, and even the heads of TWD's the Civic Republic Military, CRM, have moments where they believed they were the heroes of their own stories. Jadis walked a fine line between good and evil in The Walking Dead. Jadis did what she could to survive on The Walking Dead. Jadis Stokes looking around cautiously in The Walking Dead The Ones Who Live S1 EP5 image via AMC. When Jadis first appears in The Walking Dead, the show presents her as a villain. However, that is really up for interpretation. What did Jadis do that heroes like Rick Grimes and Daryl Dixon didn't do in their time throughout the series? While Rick started out TWD as a purebred hero, wanting to do the right thing, that changed quickly when he realized that law and order no longer worked in the post-apocalyptic zombie landscape. When Rick forcibly took over the peaceful Alexandria safe zone, he showed he would do anything to run things his way. Jadis did no differently as the leader of the Scavengers. Rick took the role as leader of his group of survivors and soon expanded that to leading the Alexandria safe zone and Hilltop. Negan did the same when he tried to keep his people alive with the Saviors. Jadis did the same with the Scavengers in their junkyard home. When Rick showed up, Jadis had every reason to remain cautious. Rick proved throughout TWD that he would take whatever he wanted, and Jadis had a duty to protect her people from outsiders. However, things got a little blurry as time went on. Jadis ended up betraying her own people and joined Rick and began a relationship with Gabriel, using the name Anne. That all ends when Gabriel learns that Anne has been working with some other group all along. There were hints that this was happening with helicopters seemingly coming to her junkyard, and when we learned that she had been engaging in human trafficking for this group, it really began to push her into villain territory for good. That changed somewhat in The Ones Who Live. Jadis proved she was evil as she betrayed everyone who trusted her. Jadis betrayed her friends and committed human trafficking. When Jadis joined the Alexandria community and changed her name to Anne, we thought she was finally giving up her life in the junkyard and starting to come around as a hero. She was even dating Father Gabriel. She could be forgiven for taking Rick hostage and even locking up Father Gabriel before they started dating. However, her true downfall was never more apparent than when she inadvertently killed the Scavengers, the people she had sworn to protect as their leader. Rick had made mistakes that got his people killed. He ordered the mass execution at Negan's camp, which is the reason Negan later killed Glenn and Abraham. However, Jadis was reckless. She refuses to give in to Simon and the Saviors, so he kills her two lieutenants, Tamiel and Brian, in front of her. Instead of protecting the rest, as Rick did after Glenn and Abraham's deaths, she fought back and every scavenger was massacred in front of her. When she led the scavenger walkers into the shredders, it was a horrific moment. It was also seemingly where Jadis finally became jaded. However, there is something important to understand. She was never an altruistic leader like Rick Grimes. Jadis always had a secret. She worked for CRM all along. She was involved in human trafficking, sending people to the group to be experimented on. As their appearance in World Beyond showed, the CRM had no problem massacring entire communities of innocent people to keep control, and Jadis was part of that, making her a legitimate villain in TWD. But Jadis tragically fought for her own survival. Jadis didn't do anything worse than many heroes in TWD. Jadis Stokes looking at Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Lived. It can be argued that Jadis was only doing what she needed to do to survive. The CRM proved they would kill anyone who double-crossed them, so once she got involved with the group, she had no choice but to keep playing along. If she suddenly stopped helping them, they likely would have just sent in a team to massacre the Scavengers before the Saviors ever had a chance. Jadis kept her people alive for longer than they could have been by continuing her human trafficking operations with CRM. Rick did similar things in his time as a leader, and no one questioned his morality. He killed countless people and was just as brutal as anyone else. He banished Carol to the wilderness and made decisions that would have painted him as a villain if he were not the main character. It could be argued that if The Walking Dead started out by following Negan or Jadis, they would be the heroes of the story, and Rick would be seen by viewers as a merciless villain. However, this isn't how the show is structured, and instead, we see Jadis as someone who does morally reprehensible things. This was put into question, though, when Jadis began to talk about A and B people. The CRM tested on the people that Jadis brought in, and if they were an A person, they were reserved for their prototype reanimation slowing drug. When she brought Rick to the CRM, she labeled him a B to save his life. This showed she had bigger plans than maybe TWD fans might have known. Jadis tried to redeem herself in her own way at the end. Jadis believed Rick Grimes could be the leader of the future world. Pollyanna McIntosh as Jadis stares at Andrew Lincoln as Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. It was never really revealed in detail, but between her appearances on World Beyond and The Ones Who Lived, it seems that Jadis wanted something better for the CRM. She believed this group could protect the future of the world, but she also knew that it needed a different leader, one who actually cared about the people and wasn't just blindly looking for a way to control everything. She believed, it seemed, that Rick Grimes could be that leader and do something no one else could. After she saved Rick's life in The Walking Dead and took him away in a helicopter, Jadis' next appearance was in The Walking Dead, World Beyond. This was the series that showed that CRM was the deadliest threat on the show, especially when they massacred an entire community of students to cover up their work. It was here that she admitted to her mentor Huck that she lied about Rick being an A and said he was a B because she owed him more than that.